16 weeks from a meet where I'm competitive in my class. It looks like I'll be 2 to 4 pounds too heavy in fat for my class. How do you cut in a way that minimally impacts training this close to a meet? 16 weeks isn't that close.
No, 16 weeks is he's 4 pounds over?
2 to 4.
He's 2 to 4 over? He?
Yeah, I imagine.
I guess it doesn't fucking matter, I suppose.
2 to 4 pounds. 16 weeks out.
Is there like a typo in there?
No, that's it. 16 weeks from a meet.
Read the question again.
16 weeks from a meet where I'm competitive in my class. It looks like I'll be 2 to 4 pounds too heavy for my class. So 2 to 4 pounds over. How do you cut in a way that minimally impacts training this close to a meet?
Okay. I'm going to answer this in a way that may be what he was trying to sell or say. Mm-hmm. And that is, let's say he normally cuts down. And he normally cuts down, and his normal cut is going to be 12 pounds.
Yes.
That's what his normal cut is. Now he's 4 pounds over the 12, which would be a way to say that I'm 4 pounds over what I'm comfortable normally pulling off at the last minute.
Yep.
Right? Because most people, I'm not a big fan of cutting weight for a meet unless you're going to break unless you're going to break some type of world record or you're trying to qualify for something that requires a total in said class. Other than that, I'm just like, lift whatever you want to lift. It's supposed to be about getting bigger, lift more weight.
Yes.
So now those people that do cut and are fairly regular about it, they know their threshold, right? So they know exactly where that is. So he's a little bit outside of his threshold 4 months out, which does give a lot of time. But the problem is at that 4 months out, you need to start scaling the training, and the training needs to become a higher priority, which it's a good thing, but it also means that for most training protocols over the next 4 months, volume is going to slowly decrease, which other factors involved, calories will typically subconsciously increase.
Right.
You know, just you're training heavier, you're eating more, you know, so things that I would suggest is find a weigh day, you know, that is typically in the morning after you shit. So nothing can really interrupt what this weight's going to be. Right. Same day of the week, every single week. And then that's kind of like the mainstay of what that is and where everything's going. And, try to have it on a day that's not going to be influenced by water retention the day before. In other words, it shouldn't be like, well, I was heavier because I just pounded tons of fucking pizza and beer last night. Yeah. Well, then fucking do this on a different day. Yeah. That wouldn't be the case. Yep. That gives you that tracking of that from that point. And then from there, not a lot of changes have to happen. No. You know, so assuming that what I'm saying is right. Now, if it's just 4 pounds, and it's just 4 pounds, then wait till the last week, just cut the 4 pounds or just don't cut it at all. Yep. But if it's over and above that, depending upon how lean the person is too, you're going to have to probably start now. You know, so the macros are going to have to come down just a little bit. Maybe add in, you know, 4,000 extra steps. That's probably too much. 2,000 extra steps per day. So not a huge bit, but enough. Because in the 4 months, you can get that off. Oh, for sure. You can definitely get that off. But that all aside, the other question the person needs to ask is, with everybody that competes, and I'm going to say everybody, with everybody that competes in lighter weight classes, at some point in time, you got to go up. It just becomes detrimental. So say you start out at 148. So I saw this with Brian Schwab a few times. You know, it just gets to the point where he's cutting so fucking hard to make the 148s that the performance was never what it should be. And then that comes that time where it's like, you know what? It's I need to go up. And usually by that time, they really don't need to gain a whole lot of weight because he's probably at 185. Or I'm sorry, he's probably 170. Oh, shit. You know, before that. Yeah, right. So then, and that's just what happens when somebody's fighting a weight class. So they get into that weight class, say it's 165, and just to throw arbitrary numbers out, they get in that weight class and they're 15% body fat.
Yeah.
All right. Then over the next 5 years, now they're 8% body fat and they're still 165.
Yeah.
Because they've held their weight at that certain point, but they still have to build muscle to get stronger. So they're still building the muscle in a very, very shallow calorie surplus.
Yeah.
But that still ends up getting to a point where the lean body mass will over and above be what they're able to cut. So they can keep fighting it. There's two things. They can lose muscle,
Yep.
which nobody's going to want to do.
Fuck that.
Or they're going to have to go up, or they're going to have to keep fighting it, where usually after 2 fucked up meets and they're competing twice a year. So it's a year. They're already doing the math.
Yeah.
On what's it going to take to be at the same level in the next weight class up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, I think just first step is finding that baseline, understanding like what you're doing now and if your body weight is going up versus staying the same, right? Because he's saying 2 to 4 pounds. It's like he could have weighed himself on one day and he's 2 pounds over. He could have weighed himself the next day or the next week and he's now 4 pounds over. It's like, all right, what if you weighed yourself another time the week after? Are you back to 2 pounds or are you going up again? Right? And I don't know where he's coming up with the math where I'm going to be 2 to 4 pounds over 16 weeks. Fuck, I don't even know what I'm having for breakfast tomorrow. Right?
Yeah.
Like how can you really dictate, unless he's tracking everything and he's so in tune with what's going on, he will know based on what he's eating now. But you can't possibly know that.
No, it's still too
right.
long.
It's just way too far.
No, there's too many other variables that can come into play.
Keep it simple. Understand where your baseline is now, and just start kind of just either increasing steps or adjusting your intake just a little bit. Because over the course of 16 weeks, you can lose 4 pounds.
It's a fucking pound a month.
Exactly. So, and that will not affect your strength. That will not affect your training. It'll just it'll be just in the wash, right?
Yeah.
It'll just kind of wash out at the end.